Good morning, clubbers, and of course, welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Club. It's a fantastic Friday in the Isle of Spice, and of course, I'm very happy to be with you today. I woke up this morning energized. Of course, I always speak about gratitude. So this morning, I'm first of all grateful for love. It's Valentine's Day. I'm grateful for the breath of life. I'm grateful for opportunities. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be able to converse with you. I'm appreciative of you, as well as the numerous blessings that I have in my life. And when I say blessings, also the lessons that come as well, because a lot of the lessons that come in our lives, sometimes the difficult parts of our lives, they're lessons, to equip us to better deal with life on a whole. So I'm grateful for so much this morning. We have a fantastic show in store for you this morning. I have the phenomenal Niasha Keynes Douglas. She's here with us this morning. She's a certified empowerment and confidence life coach and a mental wellness advocate. Of course, she's Grenadian, and of course, we like to feature wonderful Grenadians doing so much for people out there and for women in general. She has created a safe space for women. So we're going to be diving into so much about women empowerment, mental health, wellness. There's so much in store this morning. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us. I know you have options. We want to thank you for keeping it on the Ride Along Network. And of course, clubbers, you are appreciated. Listen, make sure you share the live this morning so that other people can join the conversation about women empowerment and mental health wellness. We take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Looking for the ultimate island experience? Hop on the Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tour and explore Grenada like never before. Feel the tropical breeze, sip on authentic Caribbean rum punch, and cruise through Grenada's stunning scenery in our unique and fun tuk-tuks. It's the perfect blend of adventure and island flavor. Book your unforgettable tour now at ride.gd or call 473-422-1011. Don't just see Grenada, experience it with Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tours today.
Good morning, clubbers, and of course, welcome back to the Wake Up Club. Now, today it's Valentine's Day, and I have my thoughts on Valentine's Day. I have kind of felt that it is more about a commercial aspect than it is about love itself. But as I sit and I think about society and I think about the world, sometimes I have to adjust my mindset because I'm appreciative that there is at least a day dedicated for loving each other. And yeah, we could disagree, we could agree. I'm just happy that there is a day that people go out of their way to show their loved ones that they love them. And yes, it should be happening every single day. It shouldn't take a single day for you to give your girlfriend or your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents a token of appreciation to show your love. But I'm happy that there is at least one day, because we're living in difficult times, and often we don't reflect on making sure that we love each other as we should. So I want to encourage you. I know it's a commercial day, but sometimes it's as simple as writing someone a note. It's as simple as being courteous. It's probably a smile. Some of us, in these financial times, probably can't afford to do the grand gestures of the flowers and the chocolates and all of that. And yeah, I know we living in difficult times where some people expect that if you can't give them that, that means you in love them. Yeah, we living in a really screwed up world with a lot of screwed up mentalities, because a lot of people see love as something physical and commercial, but it isn't. So if you can't afford to give the flowers and the chocolates and all of that, give up yourself, your time, a smile, talk about a story, something that happened between the two of you, but show your appreciation. Something sometimes it's as simple as a hug to say happy Valentine's Day, you know. But in all of that, I want you to also remember to love yourself. Probably today is the day that you take some time to reflect on yourself. Probably treat yourself, because if you're in love yourself, you can't love nobody else. And that's all I have to say on Valentine's this morning. When we come back, we're going to be chatting with the phenomenal woman I mentioned earlier. That is Niasha Keynes Douglas. And we're going to be talking women empowerment, mental wellness. We're going to be talking all things women. We take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Are you a progressive young leader, a proactive emerging executive, a rising professional? Then you need appropriate cover for your vehicle. Introducing the Pro Motor Plan from Beacon. Car insurance that includes free loss of use, windscreen cover up to $3,500, free special perils, free accident forgiveness. Get Beacon's Pro Motor Plan today. Don't procrastinate. Call Beacon today at 440-4447.
Welcome back, folk. And of course, joining me this morning is another fantastic Grenadian, making her waves out there in the world, and of course, empowering women in general. And Niasha, I want to welcome you to the Wake Up Club.
Morning. Thank you so much for having me, Kirk.
Listen, it's a pleasure. And listen, you just made me so happy because I love all the colors that I'm seeing this morning. It brightens my day, Of course,
I love color. I love color and flamboyancy. And it's cold in the UK. It is a freezing cold.
I could just imagine.
Even though I have on my crafty conversations shirt, I was like, oh my God, I'm freezing. So I put on my sweater rather quickly. Made by myself, I must say.
Hey, wow, beautiful, beautiful. Listen, you are a Grenadian doing so much great things when it comes to women empowerment, creating this safe space. But before we begin, who are you? Where are you from? Tell us about your Grenadian roots.
Well, I'm Niasha Toole. I'm Keynes Douglas by marriage, and I am from the Northeast. I'm a Northeast girl, Bolio Vendum area, a convent girl, and a proud Grenadian. I must say a proud Grenadian, even though I've lived away from Grenada for a very, very long time. Grenada is always home. And one of my main things is giving back to Grenada. And I visit, regularly enough. And it's giving back to Grenada. So my roots started in Bolio Vendum, and I think that those days have shaped me into the woman that I am today, and to be able to do what I am doing today. My foundation is there in Grenada.
Okay, definitely. Listen, that's what I love about this program, because I like to celebrate Grenadians. There's so many different things we could talk about, but to me, there's enough negativity outside there in the world that, a little taste of positivity, like the colors you have on today, is what I think we need in life. So listen, you are a certified woman empowerment and confidence life coach, as well as a mental wellness advocate. I've got to ask the question, how did you get involved in that field? What was the genesis?
Well, I've been always been told I'm precocious. I growing up, I like to talk. I like to, help people, help my fellow schoolmates and stuff like that. And I have been through adversity in my life. So my career is accounting and law, but something that has been on me is that I have been through adversity, and during those times, I'm a product of teenage pregnancy. I became pregnant at 15. But what held me to where I was able to carry on and not be a statistic in terms of a child after a child after a child and not doing anything with your life is the fact that I have always had strong women around me. My mom, my aunts, my grandmothers, even aunts that are not blood aunts, who have always supported me and be there for me. And when I noticed that there are other women who don't have that, that is a blessing and a privilege that I have always had in my life. I felt like, you know what, I don't want to be accounting and law wasn't fulfilling to me. It wasn't, what fulfills me is seeing other people succeed and seeing other people thrive. And I put a lot of work into myself to be able to overcome those adversities and to come out on the other side. And I just thought, you know what, if I could help somebody else to, one, not make some of the mistakes that I've made, and two, I believe if you go through a test and then you do nothing with it, then you just went through a mess. And it's all about learning and growing. And if I could put the work in to learn and grow, do the different courses, try the different tips and tricks, then why can't I teach that to other women? I mean, I've got two grown daughters now. My daughters are 30 and 23. All their friends come to me and all my friends come to me. And I just thought, why not turn my passion, for helping women and what I believe is my purpose as well into profit and do everything so I don't have to work a day in my life.
Hmm. Definitely. Listen, now I know women empowerment is a worldwide international phenomena, but there are cultural aspects that make it different in terms of how far we've grown. In the Caribbean, Grenada, a lot of the Caribbean countries, that cultural, how do I want to say it? Sometimes you want to say things so that concept of a woman's power or a woman's role, okay, or not understanding that women are equal to men, still is predominantly cultural in places like Grenada. What are your views on that? Do you think that it's something that we can overcome? Because there's so much information out there in terms of technology, in the media. There's a Me Too movement. There's so much about women empowerment, but you still find a lot of women shackled culturally because of it.
Yeah, and I think we have come a long way, but we have a very long way to go. And that is why my niche is your mental wellness, because there's a stigma. So, woman empowerment is a broad thing. It could be woman empowerment in your workplace, in your life, in your marriage. But I have chosen to focus in on mental health because I think once you are well mentally, you can be empowered everywhere else. And mental health is a stigma, mental wellness. There's a stigma around it. If you say in our society, what's wrong with you, you see somebody with mental illness as somebody running around naked, maybe doing bad things to people and whatever it is. But there's a stigma attached to a woman struggling, a woman not being able to speak to anybody. So that is why I consciously chose to focus in on mental health because of my culture, because it's something culturally within the Caribbean culture, within the Black woman's culture, that there's a stigma attached to, that nobody wants to talk about, that there are no outlets for it. So there is an issue. There is a huge issue. There's the issue of confidentiality. Who do I speak to? If I speak to Mary, then her neighbor Joan would hear my business and stuff like that. And we make women feel as though they are weak if they are not carrying on, if they're not just putting on their big girls pants on and coping. And we have to stop coping. We have to stop just existing and start living. And when I look back, I took the time to look back at, from my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, who I was, privileged to have, that you could, now that I'm wiser, now that I've become empowered, I can see that they were going through things as well. But society would not allow us as women to live our truth. And let me preface this whole interview by saying that men, I believe that men have issues as well, and men need help as well. It's just that, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So I believe that coaching and helping should be not only based on what you've learned through books, but also from life experiences. And I can't help men with their life experiences. So I don't want any keyboard warrior to come for me this morning and say, well, men need, I am aware of that. And I do get men in my inbox, and I do get men coming to me. But what I do is I then signpost them to other services that could relate to them. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, that men go through the same thing. So I think, in answer to your question, it is a huge issue. And we see empowerment is not a woman wanting to be a man, or a woman feeling a man is not the head of the household. Empowering yourself is educating yourself and getting the tools that you need to take care of yourself enough that you get to a point where, yes, you want a man in your life, you want certain things, but you don't need it. There is a huge difference. And a lot of our ancestors, a lot of those that went before us, stayed in certain situations because they were not empowered, either educationally, mental health wise, business wise, financially, the man taking care of everything. So empowerment is just getting yourself to the stage where you can stand on your own 2 feet. We don't want to replace men. We don't want to replace being the head of the household. We don't want to be doing manual labor, but we want to be able to stand on our own 2 feet, whereby we are in a place of want, not in a place of need.
Yeah. Well, I know you mentioned, grandparents and our foreparents not having the tools. And I have to ask, when we're talking about mental health, does nurturing play a big part in it? Because, we could dive into what women accept and women fear of getting help and so forth shortly. But our girls being nurtured enough? Are they growing up empowered before they get into the relationships, or is something lacking? What's happening? Because it starts there. Because if I am nurtured properly and I understand my value and all of that, a lot of nonsense I'm not going to accept in a relationship. I may even choose a different partner because I understand my worth. So let's chat about that. What are your views on that?
Behavior is learned, and again, we go through seeing our mothers go through it and our grandmothers go through it, and they went through it, they didn't grow through it. So what you live is what you think is normal. And I know when I had my girls, one of my thing was I should be my child's hero, not Whitney Houston or Oprah Winfrey or whoever else. I should be my child's hero. And what makes me heroic is me living a life that I would want them to live. So if we as mothers and we as the older generation, I can't believe I'm older, the older generation in society, we have to make the conscious effort to show our young ladies the way that things should be, what is acceptable and not acceptable. And that is not by saying it, it's by living it. Even our men could teach our daughters, what should a man look like? What should you accept? What should you expect? Like today is Valentine's Day. How many fathers are doing it for their daughters to show to them, when you grow older, this is what a man should be doing for you. This is what you should accept. And so we need to start, because between the age of 1 and 7, you're formulated, your brain, whatever you learn then. So as parents, as those of us in society who have that influence on our young people, we should wake up every single day and ask ourselves, in 10 years time, in 15 years time, what do I want my daughters, my nieces to be accepting? We cannot wait until they're in a bad relationship and run up there and want to beat up the person, because we have told them that this is what, even as a mother, as a woman, when you stay in a certain situation and you undergo certain things, you may think that your children are not seeing, or you say, oh, let's not talk, let's go outside and argue, or don't argue when the children are here, because you feel that you don't want them to hear it, but they see it and they observe it. And then it goes either one of two ways. What you have is, like, if you're in a house with an alcoholic and you have children in houses alcoholic, some of the children may become alcoholics because they think that is the right thing to do, and some of them would not become alcoholic. They would not even smell it because they don't want to be like that. So we put our children in those positions whereby it can go one way or another, and we have to be very mindful of that when we do certain things in society.
Yeah, it's definitely learned behavior, because I have this friend and he and I talk all the time, and he grew up with his mother being physically abused all the time. And he told me, he kept saying to me that he hated seeing it. He got so angry, and that he would never abuse a woman. But unfortunately, he himself have found himself seeing that as power and control,
Mm.
and exhibiting signs of it,
Yes.
and doing
And
it
and
himself.
yes, and he sees it as normal. So that situation, sorry to cut you, could have gone either way. It could have been where he doesn't want to be with a woman. He doesn't want to be with a woman. He wants to be by himself because he doesn't want to turn out like that. Or where he gets in relationships and he forms unhealthy relationships, because to him, beating is normal. The mother stayed with the dad. That means he loved her. So that is his way of showing love and his way of showing. So we have to be very mindful. And we are responsible for our children. We are responsible. We brought them into this world, and we are responsible for what they learn and how they learn. We should be their first teachers, not society, not the school, not the church. We should be our children's, as I said, hero. We should be what our children want to look up to.
And definitely, and going back to him, he knows it was wrong. He doesn't want to do it, but it seems to be out of his control. So let's talk about health, because you've created Crafty Corner. It's a safe space for women, because, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of women stay in situations because, number one, they don't know how to get out. And a lot of us, not only women, men, we live our lives to please the neighbor, all sorts of different people, because we're worried about how we're going to be judged by people, so there is that fear. And us in the Caribbean, look at her, why she getting on? So the man feeding her, he put her in a big house, so she should take the lash.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yes, and we tend to stay in those situations. And that is a lot of the times because we don't have an outlet. We don't have an outlet because we're afraid if we talk to our parents, then they would be like, some parents would be like, you're married already, and the man ain't beating you, he ain't dissing you. He stayed. If you leave him with with the 4 children, who gonna want you? And we're afraid of that. We're afraid of talking to our friends because, again, you talk to Jenny tell Sharon tell Joan, and then the whole village know your business. And the sad thing in Grenada is you're even afraid, not even only in Grenada, I think in the Caribbean, Black culture, you're even afraid to go to professionals because your professional knows somebody. 6 degrees of separation. And even though sometimes they don't mean to talk about it, it's so small, you might be given, like you just gave an example of a friend. There might be 2 people on your program now that say, but wait, Kirk and this one is friend and this happened. So is he talking
So
about?
I know who it is.
Exactly. So even though you don't intentionally mean to, because it's so small. So what I found is that we stay in certain situations because we don't have the outlets, we don't have the help. There is a stigma that is attached to it. There's a stigma that is attached to even asking for help. We are afraid to ask for help because of the fear of being judged, because of what people would say, because of we would be seen as weak. You cannot cope, you cannot make it, you're not a good mother, you're not a good wife. Even if your children are acting up, you're afraid to seek professional help because you feel that that is a reflection on you. So you put up with it or you let things get out of control. And that is why I have created crafty conversations. There's two different sides to it because
Mhm.
a lot of the times what women lack as well is guidance and a hobby, a good little hobby. And and a hobby don't mean going to a party and going to fit. Hobby is something that brings you joy, something that you can do and you can say, I have achieved this, I have achieved it for me. And I started crocheting and crafting over 30 something years ago. My brother is 37 and he has a hat that I made for him as a baby. And to me, that is always there when I need it to sit down. And, crafting has been shown to help with mental wellness. There have been a lot of studies that have shown that when you craft or you crochet, it reduces anxiety. It boosts your confidence. Look, I have done this. I'm sitting here now and I know a couple people in your chat. Oh, Nyasha jumper nice, yeah? The feeling of I can say I have made this with my own two hands. So crafting has been shown to do that. And what also happens is women want to talk without feeling that they're in therapy or they're in a session. And
Mhm.
when you sit down, I remember my grandmother used to make baskets, or the women in my village making bamboo basket. And they all sit down there making the bamboo basket and they're talking about things without even realizing that that is therapy and that is helping them and that is an outlet for them. So I have modeled my on that, whereby two folds where you can craft and bring yourself that joy and improve your mental wellness and have a hobby and have that outlet, and also the conversation with other
Mhm.
women, meeting up with other women, with like-minded women who are going through the same thing, because we always think that it's only me. You always think it's only you, is and unless you speak to people. And when I have my meetups, because I do meetups in person and meetups online, I ask leading conversations. If I just, oh, ladies, how was your week this week? You would be surprised that for 2 hours we talking and they don't realize that they're talking, and how good it feels to be able to have other people to relate with, to realize that it's not only you going through those things, to hear from other people. What have you done to deal with that difficult child? What have you done to deal with that financial situation? And when you create an atmosphere where women feel comfortable and where they are doing something else along with it, those situations and those tips and tricks and help comes out without them even realizing that either they're giving it or they're getting it.
Hmm. Listen, it's a whole educational process because I was here listening to you and I'm thinking, well, okay, yes, but how do we break that cycle? And how do we break that cycle in terms of education? Because when we talk about women empowerment, it's not going to happen overnight because women have been, I'm going to say it, oppressed or throughout life considered the lesser sex.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong on all accounts, but it is historic, and because it's historic, it's not something that's going to change like that because it's still learned behavior. So it's going to have to be broken gradually over years, probably decades. Where do we start? Because just as you're saying, a lot of women want to cry out, they want to find help, but the judgment is a prison, that invisible prison. What do we do in terms of education? Because I know that there are women probably listening to this program now, or who are going to listen to this program, and they're thinking, you guys are right. I need to get this, but where do I go, and where do I get that strength from to even ask for help? I might
We
be rambling, but
no,
that.
you're right. We start we start like this,
Mhm.
letting them know that it is okay,
Oh.
letting them know that there is people like me. You see me walking the street. I have mental health issues. I take my two little happy pills every day, and I should not be ashamed to sit here and say that I went and I got help. I mean, I know I said to you, I have an appointment before your show, and it was an appointment with my psychologist. Yes, I'm highly educated. Yes, I have the degrees. Yes, I have all of that, but I do suffer from mental health issues. Letting them know that you're not crazy, letting them know that it's just a chemical imbalance and anybody can have it, letting them know that your mental wellness is no different to having for women a fibroid, or having a pain in your knee, or
Mhm.
having that it is a medical issue, letting them know that there's nothing wrong with them. People in positions of power, people in positions of influence, I don't call myself an influencer, should be able to sit down and say, listen, there is nothing wrong with you. More programs like this, where women, I know a lot of women in Grenada know me, know what I do and all of that. Me sitting here saying, do you know what? I go through it. I have my up days, my down days. I suffer with depression diagnosed. Listen, I can show you my medical records. I take
Mhm.
my medication every single day. I am sure that some people are sitting right now going, oh, not Niasha. Oh my God. But by me saying that, there are also others who would be like, do you know what? But she looks normal. She has
Mhm.
two kids. She is successful. So then, and that is how we start. We start by breaking the stigma. We start
Okay.
by doing a lot. We have women's World Women's International Day coming up. Have programs where we make women know that it is okay. It is okay to not be okay.
Mhm.
It is okay to not be okay. And we as a society, those of us who are precocious like myself, who don't mind using their voice, like you, who say what you have to say, by us living the unapologetic way that we are living, we are just chipping away at what people's concepts are of what a woman is and how a woman should be. So we have started. This is a start. This is how you start.
Definitely. And we're talking about women empowerment, but men play a significant role. How do we get the men? I know it's going to be education as well, but what is your position on men, opening their eyes or changing their, 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 their thought positioning? What can men do? Because a lot of men are in relationships and they have no idea that their women are having mental wellness and health issues. Sometimes, the majority of the times, they're contributing to it, but they're oblivious of it,
Mm-hmm.
because she's not speaking out to get help anywhere else, so she's not speaking to you as well. What can men do?
Well, I mean, you see, with the men, you have to not be in the bubble. And we talk about love, and we are on Valentine's Day, and we talk about love. What is love? Love is knowing somebody and recognizing the changes, because women do change and different things. And we have to be mindful and not be in such a bubble whereby we don't recognize. And that's not just for men, that's for our family members and our friends. And know when to be fast. And we say Mako, not because your girlfriend not being herself or not going to the parties and stuff like that, you think, and maybe she have a new man, or well, maybe I do her something so she don't want to talk to me. There are times to be fast in people's business. There are times when you have to knock down the doors. There are times when, hang on, but I've called Kirk, Kirk normally go to this fete, he didn't go. He normally go to that fete, he didn't go. Let me go and check. Let us not just be inquisitive when it's for gossip or when it's salacious or when it's drama. Be there. And it's the same thing for men. If you come home and she don't want you to touch her, or she's snapping, what do she she have another man and stuff like that. And so there are times when you have to sit down and think, hang on, she is not herself. What is wrong with her? And us as a society can help with that by having more joint things. When last have you seen a joint function in Grenada? A joint men and women function, brunch, buffet, dinner, unless it's Valentine's, you might see, but where you have these educational outlets whereby you have both parties. You either have men things or you have women things. And, so this is where we can start where we have events and outlets where both could come together, where both can share, where they can learn about each other. Because a lot of the times you with somebody or you married to somebody and you don't know that person. You don't, after years, you don't know that person because you're all running, you're working, you're looking after the children, you're doing all of that. So, giving them the outlet to be able to do things together, whereby they can learn about each other so that they can recognize when something is wrong. Because if you don't know what your partner's normal is, you wouldn't know when it's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to create that as a society. And I think one of the main things is seeing your mental wealth, your mental health, just as important as your physical health. Where, you see things about, come and get your blood pressure checked. Every time you have a fair, and you have a lot of health fairs in Grenada, check your blood pressure, check your diabetes, check this. You've never seen where they said, come and have a chat. We have psychiatrists. Come, there are tests. There are 14 questions. Come and take these 14 questions to see where you are at in your mood so that we can follow up on that. We have in all our health centers across Grenada, is there a room for mental wellness? You have a district doctor coming every week or every day. Do we have a mental profession? Even something as a social worker positioned in these places. So we need to give mental wellness, mental health should not be when you get to the point where you need to go up to Monday. There's a long way before we get to that. And to break the stigma of, I'm crazy, so I have to go up in the pink house. We need to start at base level in our clinics, in our health centers, in our health fairs, in our gatherings, in our churches. Again, your pastor will tell you, pray about it. If the man do, pray. Position. We have a program that we do here, mental health in churches, and I deliver that along with another organization where we educate people in churches, elders and so in churches, to recognize when someone in your church is struggling mentally, and not just to pray for them or send them to pray, but to also listen. God gave us psychologists, psychotherapists, therapy, and all of that. If he didn't think we need it, there wouldn't be that profession. So we can't just depend on the Bible and say, go and pray about it. So these are the places where we need to start. We need to give it the recognition that it deserves. You stump your toe, you need a doctor. You're feeling down, you need a mental health profession. And those things should be on par with each other.
Definitely. Because, since I've started doing this program, since I've started putting my little blogs on social media, there's so many people reaching out to me and wanting to share their troubles and so forth. And I have found myself overwhelmed by it because I can't fix and solve everybody's problems. Some of the problems are problems that need help. Some of the problems are people who see an opportunity to take advantage. So I have to kind of navigate that. So I also find myself needing some sort of help, and I'm glad you said it. People will see you, people will see me, they'll see me walking around. Oh, that's Mr. Sita Hall. He okay. Mental health affects every single one of us, and we need the tools to be able to handle it. Sometimes I get off the phone of a young man who's calling me to tell me that, listen, life isn't worth living. And I am being very positive, and I'm telling him everything that I have to tell him for him to look at it differently and to encourage him. But when I get off that phone, I am a shell of myself.
Mm-hmm. And that is where networking comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And there are days when you have to protect your energy. Let me coach you now.
No, go
There
ahead.
are days when you have to protect your energy. And it's okay as a professional to say, listen, I can't deal with that today. If it's an emergency situation, let me call Kirk and tell him to call you because he can deal with it. And there is something that we do where every health profession needs a health profession. So it's an organization where we provide therapy for people in the Black community, but all our therapists have to have a supervisor. You have to have what you call a supervisor. And that is where us professionals need to come together so that when I deal with a heavy situation, I could then call you and say, boy, and decompress with somebody else, or you can have that same outlet where you can decompress with one of your peers when dealing, because we cannot fix everything. And again, signposting people. I know people come to you and you think, well, that's not my remit. A woman might come to you and you think, that's not my remit. But now we have the relationship. You can say to her, Jane, hang on. Let me see if Nyasha is available. And you have that outlet. So we need, again, to put together that network whereby not only me seeing you saying positive things on Facebook and say, oh God, I love what he say, and you seeing me doing it, but whereby we have the interrelationships where we share our skills and we use our skills to help those of us who we think need the help.
Definitely, because I had this instance yesterday where this friend of mine, Cece, she is Luxe Treasure. She makes these fantastic candles, these fantastic scented candles. And she came to my office yesterday, to tell me, oh my God, Kirk, thank you so much for all that you're doing. And she brought me a candle. But listen, she didn't realize that I was the one receiving the therapy, that I needed to be poured into. And she came and she poured into me. Okay. There she thinks, I'm the one pouring into her, but she came yesterday to my office and she poured into me.
Check in on your strong friends.
So today is Valentine's Day. And, it's sometimes a simple act, of picking up the phone and call your friend.
Yes. Check in on your strong friends.
Checking on your friends.
Check in on you might think I'm crazy, but every now and again, I would send you a little message.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
every
do.
now and then, I would send you a little message. And it's because
it's so important.
Yes. And I recognize you're pouring, you're giving. And I am mindful. I wonder who checking up on, not that I don't think you have friends, but I wonder who checking up on him. I wonder who's telling him hello. I wonder who's telling him good morning. And we have never spoken like that, but I would send you a message. Good morning. How are you? Sending you love and light. And I am sure that, in one mind, you might think, what this woman want? But on the other hand, I'm sure it boosts your spirits.
It's so important because I think throughout my life, and you see, it's perception. Most people would think that I have a lot of friends and they're picking up the phone to call and check on me, but they don't, because to them, I am the one that pours into them. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe I've put myself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But they are assuming, they always assume, well, everything is all right with
Yeah.
him.
Yes. Yes.
Everything's all right with him.
And
And
those
so
are the ones.
go on, no, go ahead.
No, I said, and those are the ones we need to check up on. And it's not just checking. I make a conscious effort, and people who are listening, I have in my day message people.
Mhm.
It may sound, but there are people who I message, people who I just message to say, how are you? You're okay? What's, and stuff like that. And I write it in my planner and in my diary, and I carve out a little 5 minutes in my day to check on people, to check on family members, because I know that people need it. But again, that comes with being aware of who is around you. When I scroll social media, I don't just scroll it to see who fighting with who, and this is this with who, and this is that with who. I scroll to see who is spreading the love, to give them the love back. Who am I missing? If I
Mhm.
don't see you post something for 2 days or 3 days, I'll be like, hello,
Mhm.
excuse me, where are you? Just to check. Being mindful. A lot of us are in our own little bubble. We're in our own little bubble conveniently, because sometimes we're
Mhm.
protecting ourselves because we don't want to deal with other people's issues. Sometimes it's just because we are going through our own issues. And that is something that we have to be mindful of. Not everything have to do with you. Sometimes I'm sure you post something and somebody think it's about them. I know I've posted things before and people, and that person is the furthest thing from my mind. We have to be aware that people are going through their own stuff. You are going through your own stuff. I am going through my own stuff. Not because I put on my pretty cardigan and you come and you're there and you put on your nice white shirt and you're
Mhm.
pouring into people.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you turn off that camera, it's like, oh, and it's a lot. It's draining. And
Mhm.
people look at that. We have that
Mhm.
culture whereby, social media make everything look nice and rosy and bright, and we are fooled by it. We are fooled. People post all their good bits on social. Very few people post their struggles and how
Mhm.
far they come and what they're going through on social media. They post the good bits. And there are some of us in society who are sitting and saying, I want to be like Kirk, and all you seeing is when Kirk reach a certain level.
Mhm.
And you are there killing yourself, not knowing the background, not knowing the sleepless nights, not knowing the stress, not knowing that Kirk just sell everything to pay for that.
Mhm.
But you are there, and we are living in this false narrative that is the way society is because of social media and because of what people present to us. And that affects our mental well-being, because a lot of the times we are here trying to achieve things that are not achievable
People.
because we see it. We see Mary in this, what you call a perfect marriage, her husband buying her this, her husband buying her this car, husband. Mary in £2 million worth of debt, and Mary's eating beans on toast to be able to run that car. And you they're killing yourself to try to buy that car. You
Or to
see
be like
Mary out
Mary.
there. It to be like Mary. You see her there with this set of makeup and the hat on the side. Listen, that hat and that makeup is hiding a bruise. She's paying for what she's going through. And that
Mhm.
is why we have to live for us. Self-care and mental health care, it is not selfish. It is necessary.
Definitely. And I know you mentioned that facade that social media has created, because you have to really, if you're reaching out to people, you have to reach out with intention. I have this friend, and everybody wants to tick a box. Okay. So he reaches out to me often and he says, "Hey Kirk, how are you doing?" And from the time I start to talk, to explain what's going on with me, he changes the conversation. Because really and truly, he's not interested in what I'm doing. He's checking the box. I've
Yeah.
reached out to Kirk today. So make sure if you're doing it with the right intention,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
understand that not everything is as it seems,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And be mindful. You have to be mindful. When somebody say, when if I ask you how you doing, and you say I'm okay, I know whether you're okay, or you're not okay. Or when somebody smile,
Hmm.
some people smile and their eyes are as dead as a doorknob. But because we tick in the box, we don't even notice that the eyes are dead. I know sometimes when I do a broadcast or something like that, my girlfriend will call me, "What going on? You're not all right." Because she knows me.
Hmm.
She knows, but you're in pain. I know this. I see you rubbing your hand, rubbing your hand. Yeah, you know. And these are the things that we should, instead of just ticking a box, it's better to have 3 good quality persons around you than 20 people who just tick in a box. People who
Definitely.
take the time to know you, people who take the time to recognize, people who genuinely, because not everybody in your circle genuinely cares and is concerned
Hmm.
about you, about your mental health, about your financial health, about your whatever. And you and us, we need to recognize those people too. You can't have this because, again, like with you, people think Kirk he's out there. He has a lot of friends. He this, he that. There's a difference between friends and associates,
Amen.
and we just mix it up. After you talk to people 2 days, like, no, I do this interview with you. Hey, Kirk is my friend,
Hmm.
but I don't know you. I don't know the names of your dogs. I don't know all of that. You're my associate. And a lot of the times we get disappointed, or we get hurt, or we go through mental fatigue because we class associates as friends and friends as associates, and we don't know the difference, and we get disappointed because of our expectations, because people don't do what we expect them to do, then we get disappointed. So if
Exactly.
we don't expect nothing from nobody, and all of that is to do with protecting your peace and protecting your mental well-being.
Amen to that. Listen, we also have to, and I'm glad that we discussed it today, because I look at you and I say, oh my gosh, he has it all together. People look at me and they say, oh my God, he has it all together. And sometimes people are envious of misery, and they don't know it. Okay.
Yeah.
They look at a picture and they assume that that is the whole picture they're seeing. And because of social media, a lot of that happens even more because we're putting the best parts of ourselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking. So you sit down there and you envious a Nyasha and you envious a Kirk, but listen, you might be wishing some serious pain and hurt on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes,
know?
and people, what you see is not what it is. I remember once the first time I shaved my head bald, and I took this picture, and everyone, oh my God, you look so. Listen, that was one of my most viral posts.
Mhm.
I was going through a hard time, and I tried to cut my hair for myself, and it went wrong. And my friends took me to the barber, and the only thing was to shave it.
Mhm.
And I was going through a mental crisis. I took a shaver and tried to shave my head, and it was patchy and whatever. To the outside world, oh my God, you look good. But that was one of the lowest and deepest points in my life. And it's
Mhm.
people who know me and who are concerned about me could have called or messaged and say, hang on, the hair look good, but,
What's
and
going
to
on?
deeper, what is going on? And we
Mhm.
need, and I said, we need these, this is a time when we need to be Mako. You can, and people say, oh, let me leave. And we have this thing, say, a phone is a two-way. There are sometimes when you have to recognize, listen, my friend is going through something. She's not in a position to pick up the phone and call me. I would keep calling until she answers. Or you go to somebody's house and don't look around and say, oh, this dirty and that dirty. Help them. Because especially if you know that that is not them. You know they're going through something. Instead of going there and looking and say this, and then going and call this person, Lord, you don't see on Yash, will you go by Yasha? You don't drink in a cup of what? Help them, because recognize that it is not their norm and that something might be going on. Dig deeper. When
Most
I ask,
definitely.
when you ask, how are you? And they say, a day we poke a poke, no beef. Dig. This is when you have to dig. Not when it's drama and confusion.
Well, that's how we are. Listen, Niasha, we almost out of time and we could talk forever. So we
And
definitely gonna have future conversations for sure. Um, if someone looking at this program wants to reach out to you or get involved in the crafty corners, how do they do it? What are your handles? Where can they find you?
well, you can find me at Coach Niasha, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, or you can just DM me, Niasha 2 Kings Douglas. Just DM me and let's get the movement going. And it's not just about reaching out to me. It's about seeing what I'm doing, because I'm all about teaching other people. I'm not in Grenada, but if there's somebody in Grenada who wants to set up a group where you meet every Thursday, it can be any craft. It could be crochet, it could be basket making, it could be different crafts at different times, it could be a book club. I can give you the blueprint. I would stay here and I would phone different places to help you find a venue and put it together. Have a little food, a little tea, a little coffee. I would give you the concept of, ask this question. You'll be surprised. Ask a woman, how was your day? And you have a 2-hour conversation. So this is what I think we need it. We need it in Grenada. We need it in our society. And if you would like, if you feel, you know what, I can do this, I can devote my Saturday evening, my Sunday evening in my community center, just to bring women together. When they get to the door, what happens in crafty conversations stays in crafty conversations. You have your rules and regulations. So if you hear somebody saying something that be said in crafty conversation, I can help you to deal with that as well. And just get in contact with me, and I am here and open and willing and ready to help, for us to help women to become empowered and help women to look after their mental well-being before it becomes a mental health issue.
Definitely. Listen, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to chat more later on. We're going to chat about different things because, I love conversing with you. I like how you bring it real, how you make it real, because these are the conversations we need to have. In fact, people listening to this program, watching this program right now, when you meet with your girlfriend later, that's the kind of conversation you need to be having. It starts here. Listen, guys, I want to thank you for joining us on the Wake Up Club. I want to wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. Remember, forget all the commercial thing about it. Okay, at least we have a day that people go out of their way. It should be happening every day. Okay, not just on a special day, but it is a day. And I want to remind you, if you can't afford the flowers and the chocolates and all of that, sometimes it's a little handwritten note. Sometimes it's a smile. Sometimes loving a person is just as Niasha said, picking up the phone and calling to check on them. That is a pure form of love. So please make sure that you are doing it. And also for some of you out there that have the wrong concept of what love is, that you feel that if the man or the woman ain't buy you something material, they don't love you, maybe you need to look at what love really is. Okay, so folks, I want to thank you for joining us. It's a fantastic Friday. Niasha, I want to wish you a fantastic weekend. Your
And
weekend starts already.
yes, my weekend starts already. Same to you, and happy love day to you. and to all the viewers. Yes, have a fantastic weekend. Make sure you're looking after yourself. Today, let's scrap all the loving somebody. Do something for you today. Do something for you. Love yourself first.
Thank you. So have a fantastic Friday. And where you are, it's Saturday already?
No, it's Friday, but evening, afternoon now.
Okay, no problem.
Afternoon.
Folks, thank you for joining us on the Wake Up Club. Remember, you can reach out to Niasha, on her social media handles. You can also reach out to me if there is something you'd like us to discuss, something that you'd like us to, please reach out and let us know. It might be a topic that we haven't thought of or something that we need to really talk about. Thank you once again. I want to wish all of you a fantastic Friday. Have a great weekend. Love yourself. Bye.
Looking for the ultimate island experience? Hop on the Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tour and explore Grenada like never before. Feel the tropical breeze, sip on authentic Caribbean rum punch, and cruise through Grenada's stunning scenery in our unique and fun tuk-tuks. It's the perfect blend of adventure and island flavor. Book your unforgettable tour now at ride.gd or call 473-422-1011. Don't just see Grenada, experience it with Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tours today.
Are you a progressive young leader, a proactive emerging executive, a rising professional? Then you need appropriate cover for your vehicle. Introducing the Pro Motor Plan from Beacon. Car insurance that includes free loss of use, windscreen cover up to $3,500, free special perils, free accident forgiveness. Get Beacon's Pro Motor Plan today. Don't procrastinate. Call Beacon today at 440-4447.